So as you can see, the magical me of infamousness went drafting again. Yeah, imagine that. Some people might think that I wasn't drafting because I went like 3 months without posting a draft video. I mean, from Return to Ravnica pre-release up to Gatecrash pre-release, I didn't post any videos. I was drafting at that time, but I was also, busy with other stuff, and now, in some ways I was also going into a rut. And that's one of the reasons why I'm also trying to get back into doing the videos on a regular basis again, because I figured it might help me out a little bit to, be talking about one of my hobbies and, try to get morale up, blah, 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 blah. Because I'm screwy like that. Morale matters to me, I guess. I don't know. So, drafting last week. This was a really strange draft, the first draft last week. I started off gruel for my first 3 picks, and then I got handed an Executioner Swing, which I hate drafting because there was really nothing else in the pack for me. And then the next pack after that, I get handed another Executioner Swing, and I'm like, screw it, okay, I'm changing colors. And, so yeah. So this is the deck, more or less the deck I ended up with. There's a couple of cards that you're not seeing here that were in the deck because I kicked them into the prize pool afterwards. For those that don't know where I draft, the house draft, we have the deal with the prize pools. The house draft is really cheap, and one of the reasons why it's really cheap is we have almost no prize support. You go in, you draft, you try to have a good time. At the end, you take all of the rares and foils you drafted, and you kick them into the prize pool, except for one. That one you get to keep. And then whoever came in first generally gets 4 picks out of the prize pool. Whoever came in second gets 3 picks. Then whoever came in third gets 2 picks. And then everyone gets a pick in order of how well they did, until we get to the last place guy, who then, the first place guy goes again, grabs 1 pick, and then we just keep cycling through the list in order until all of the cards in the prize pool are gone. Now, I've heard some people say that this encourages cheating because then you can just keep your rares and throw like crap rares that you got elsewhere into the prize pool. And yes, you can do that, but I don't see how it encourages people to cheat. It really doesn't. I mean, if people are going to cheat, they're going to cheat. Period. Statement ends. I mean, if you want to keep the rares that you draft, go draft in Sanctioned. It's that simple, because we have Sanctioned draft. It really is that simple, guys. Oh, then you're paying a little bit more. Whoop-de-doo. You also get better price support. Silly me. Not mentioning the fact, of course, the younger players, when they draft in Sanctioned, where you get to keep the rares you draft, I'll tell you this right now, and almost every experienced player you come across will tell you this. Rare drafting is for chumps. You take, if you're going to be a good drafter, you take the best card out of the pack for your deck. Failing that, you take the card out of the pack that's going to screw you over the worst if you play against it. Simple enough. And quite frequently, that's not going to be a rare. It's just not. Period. Statement ends. As a lovely example, Shocklands. Shocklands are great cards. They're awesome cards. They aren't worth drafting, to be blunt. Unless you're going to end up keeping them, they're not worth drafting. Which is why, as a lovely example, in our house draft, you will see people pass Shocklands. They will pass them because they've already got a keeper. Because in general, especially if they've already got a keeper, a higher value keeper, money-wise, they're just going to pass the Shockland. They don't care. Let someone else take it. Let someone else waste their draft pick on a land that in draft is only slightly better than a gate, and in some ways not as good. Right? Speaking of gates, okay, so this deck was black and white, and I was splashing red for 4 cards. Ended up with a Boros Guild Gate. That was nice. Let's start off with my removal. I had 2 copies of 1,000 Lashes, a Smite, an Angelic Edict, a Killing Glare, a Devour Flesh. I had 2 Executioner Swings, and a third one in foil. That got kicked into the prize pool. I didn't get it back. Blah, blah, blah. All well and good. Flyers, I had a Basilica Screecher. It's a 1/2 flyer with Extort. 3 Sky Knight Legionnaires. That was nice. It also made up the majority of my red in the deck. A Kingpin's Pet, and a Daring Skyjack. Not bad. Night Watch was nice because it gave me a couple of creatures, because I was kind of running a little bit lighter on creatures than maybe I should have been. Vizkopa, or Vizkopa, I don't know how you want to pronounce it. However you want. The Vizkopa Guild Mage, not bad. Undercity Informer, he's okay. I had a second one in foil, kicked him to the prize pool, didn't want him back. Riot Gear, and Basilica Guard, a 1/4 defender with Extort. Riot Gear was especially nice if I could get it onto one of my flyers. I'll be perfectly honest though, I so would have loved to have something with Vigilance, especially in the air. That would have been boss. Unfortunately, we don't have, I don't think there's any enchantments or equipment in this set that grants Vigilance. Oh well. Oh well. Also had a Boros Charm. Those are really boss. And a Holy Mantle. Those things are awesome. And according to my phone, I apparently just got an email. I don't care. I'll get to that later. The deck did okay. I mean, it didn't do great, but it did okay. I really can't complain about how it did. And like I said, you know, I had three picks in. I swapped colors. My keeper, the card that originally put me in Gruul in Pack 1, was a Rubble Hulk. Rubble Hulk. And I'd also picked up like a Gruul Charm and a Gruul Guildgate. Those were like my first 3 picks in Pack 1, and then I get handed like a removal card with nothing really else in the pack for me, so I grab the removal card. Then the next pack, I get another copy of the removal card. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll switch colors. I don't care. If I'm getting past 2 respectable removal cards, it generally means it's safe to go into that early. It generally means it's safe to go into that color. There's a Executioner Swing. It's a white and a black for an instant. Target creature that dealt damage this turn gets -5/-5 till end of turn. That can take out some big guys. Some really big guys. Shielded Passage, who cares? Field Oculus, it's not bad. Void Walk is like pure hate draft. That thing gets annoying as all hell. Metropolis Sprite, nice little hate draft. She's a solid card. Simic Charm, I don't really think Simic Charm gets enough credit for how good it is. I mean, all of the charms are actually limited playable. All of them. I mean, so far of the 10 guild charms they've printed, the only one that's not terribly limited playable is the Rakdos, and even that's got uses. But we don't have to worry about that again for a while. Right? Right. Anyway, yeah, this is either like a giant growth, permanents you control gain hexproof until end of turn. That's, for most intents and purposes, that's target spell or ability that targets a permanent you control. Holy crap, that's actually pretty nice. Or return target creature to its owner's hand, unsummon. Okay. Holy crap, right? That's pretty nice. Mimic Slime doesn't really impress me. Burst of Strength is interesting. +1/+1 counter on target creature, untap it. What else? Fortress Cyclops, I just couldn't justify running him, or the Wodric Halberdiers, or the Murder Investigation, really. The Skinbrand Goblin I want to run, he got cut. Foundry Street Champion is Denizen. I think he's actually the worst of the denizens, really. Oh no, he gets a 1-point power boost whenever you play whenever a red creature hits the board under your control. So what? I mean, all of the others are gonna, all of the other denizens do something that's generally gonna do more than net you an extra point of damage. Alright, the blue denizen is a mill thing, but blue's got so much like bounce hanging around in it, especially bounce your own stuff in it, that it's probably worth more than this guy. And heaven's forbid, I think the blue denizen also has a better power toughness, if I recall correctly. Crackling perimeter, there was really nothing in the pack, and I snapped that. When that came around, I snapped it up because I'm curious about what would happen if I tried to make gate.deck. I mean, sure, why not, right? 2 Acts of Treason. One of those things that just got cut. It's not a bad card, don't get me wrong. It just didn't make the cut. Also out of the prize pool, I picked up a Rubble Belt Raider. She's not bad at all. And a foil Gruul Key Rune, which is probably going into a trade binder. Because I don't really care that much for or about foils, other than the fact that, hey, guess what? There are some people that put a lot of value on foils, and I can take advantage of that to trade a foil, common or uncommon, for something that's actually worth my, that I consider worth my time. You know what I'm saying? But maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. Second draft. Second draft I did a lot better. Second draft, I was pretty much in Boros from the start. My first round opponent I beat 2 out of 3. My second round opponent I swept. My third round opponent was Oscar. Now a little thing about Oscar. Oscar's not a bad guy. He's cool. Well, I don't know if he's cool really. I don't even think he really is cool. He's a big dork. But Oscar's an okay guy. I like him. I get along with him. On the message boards on Wizards, Oscar goes by the scream name of I am a jelly donut. All well and good. My games against Oscar, after game 1, he's like, win or lose. That was after game 1, which he won, he's like, you know what, I don't care. It doesn't matter if I lose the match at this point. And he shakes my hand. That was a good game. Second game, he shakes my hand again, and it's just like, and then afterwards he could which he won as well. He swept me, and then he shakes my hand a third time afterwards because he's like, wow, that was a great game. So he was flipping out over how great the games were, and from my perspective, I could tell he was worried because the second handshake, the one at the end of game 2, which he won anyway, his hand was all sorts of clammy and whatnot. Because he was really nervous. I mean nervous. Because he thought I had him. And I'll give him credit. I will give him all the credit in the world for maintaining his composure. Because, like I said, at the end of the match, his hand was all clammy because he was nervous. He was incredibly nervous. He thought he was going to lose the game. And inside, he was probably flipping the hell out. But throughout the entire game, he was very calm and very collected. I would not have known if he hadn't shaken my hand afterwards like that. Just would not have known. So you know what? Kudos to you, Oscar. You have composure. That's awesome shit. There's a lot of people that can't do that. They will freaking flip out and be like, oh crap, oh crap. But anyways, also as of note, this deck also marks 2 weeks in a row where I open a Boros Reckoner. Those guys are nice. So here's the deck. Let me double check something real quick. Okay. So here's the deck. I got the Boros Reckoner. I got the Boros Guildgate. I got a Madcap Skills and a Skyblinder staff. Madcap Skills is just really nice. Enchanted creature gets +3/+0 and can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. That's not bad at all. The Skyblinder staff, quick creature gets +1/+0 and can't be blocked by creatures with flying. That's especially nice when you have 4 flyers in the deck. 2 Sky Knights, 2 Assault Griffins. They're all they're both really solid cards. I prefer the Sky Knights over the Griffins because they usually hit a turn earlier. I mean, hit the board a turn earlier and swing the moment they hit the board. That's nice stuff, right? Right. 2 Ember Beasts. Now, the drawback of not being able to attack or block by themselves is kind of nasty. But the important thing to keep in mind is they have a mana cost of, well, you can't really make it out because the camera's resolution isn't that good in taking video. But they've got a mana cost of 2 and a red for a 3/4 creature. That's a beefy body for 3 mana. That is quite the beefy body. He will trade and or take down a lot of the other creatures in the format, especially near his casting cost. I mean, the drawback itself is, yeah, it's a pain, but it's there. 2 Muggings. Single red sorcery, 2 to target creature. It can't block this turn. That's not bad. It either removes weenies and or utility creatures, or removes a pesky blocker so that you can swing in for lethal. It's nice. Wojek Halberdiers, Warmind Infantry, Firefist Striker, they're all halfway decent battalion guys. The Wojek Halberdiers is a red and a white for a 3/2, so that's a 2 mana 3/2 that on battalion gains first strike. That's not bad. The Firefist, he's a colorless and a red for a 2/1 that on battalion target creature can't block this turn. That's not bad. The Warmind Infantry is a 2/3 for 2 and a red, so that alone puts him above the old Herloon Minotaur. And I think I've talked about that before. On battalion, he gets +2/+0 till end of turn. Yeah, he's a 4/3. Sweet. What else we got here that's fun? Oh, Boros Keyrune! Yeah, double striker. It's nice. The Towering Thunderfish, he's a 4/4 body with optional vigilance. Can't complain. Hellraiser Goblin only hit the board once the whole night. He's okay. He's a very aggro card, though. He's a 3 mana for a 2/2. Creatures you control have haste and must attack each turn if able. I like the haste granting ability, I really do, but attacking each turn if able really does commit you to offense, and sometimes commits you to offense under circumstances where you would really rather not be. Zarichi Tiger, it's 4 mana for a 2/3, a Pumpakulse and a white and tap him to gain 2 life. It's okay. It's far from great. He's a decent stall card, I'll give him that. Cinder Elemental, he's a reprint from way back in the day. I want to say somewhere in either Mirage or Mask's block. I can't remember which. 3 colors and a red for a 2/2, X red, tap, sacrifice, X damage, target creature or player. He's not bad. He's not bad at all. If he survives to not have summoning sickness, he can win a game. Just straight up. It's a time release fireball. I mean, what do you want? Right? Right. So, that aside, Armored Transport, I don't think he really came up much. He's a 3 mana for a 2/1. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to him by creatures blocking it. That's not bad, especially in Boros, where you will repeatedly want to be able to get Battalion. And the problem, of course, with that is, hey, you lose guys in combat, and if you lose Battalion, there's a problem. That's also a problem with the Ember Beasts, too. If you lose dudes, and suddenly the Ember Beasts can't attack or block, because they're sitting there by themselves, like, yeah, I'm an Ember Beast, I'm not going anywhere. Someone needs to jerk my chain around a little bit. Whatever. Blood Rush, guys. Blood Rush is a really nice mechanic. I like it. The Vaishino Shanktail, 3 and a red for a 3/1 first striker, 2 and a red, discard him. Creature gets +3/+1 first strike till end of turn. That's nice. Scorchwalker, 3 and a red for a 5/1. You pay 1 and double red and discard him to give a creature +5/+1 till end of turn. And of course, the Skinbrand Goblin, 2/1 with Blood Rush for a single red. Creature gets +2/+1. Honestly, the Scorchwalker is my least favorite of these. I like the Skinbrands a lot. They're pretty awesome. I like them a great deal. He's solid, very solid. The Scorchwalker I'm not crazy about, mostly because of the double red requirement. And the Shanktail I like more because of the first strike than the power boost, really. The first strike's what makes it worth it, because that'll change a trait to a one-sided, pretty much a one-sided move. You're pitching him from hand instead of losing like a theoretically more valuable creature on the board. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, this deck did pretty good. I mean, even the games against Oscar, you know, both games I got him down to 1. I got him down to 1 life, and the only reason why he survived to beat me is because he was able to not only draw into removal, but extort, because he was playing a pretty solid Orzhov deck. He was able to extort after he drew when he played his removal, so he was able to get rid of threats and get life back and deal damage to me all at once. It was pretty solid. And in some ways it also illustrates both the strengths and weaknesses of the Boros decks. Much like Rakdos in Return to Ravnica, with a Boros deck, if your opponent survives too long, you've lost the game. And that's why I don't like the idea. That's why I don't like having like 5 and 6 drop spells in a Boros deck, because by the time you're playing a 5 or a 6 drop spell, your opponent should be dead. Or that 5 or 6 drop spell should be removing the last obstacle to victory. If you're playing a 5 or a 6 drop spell to quote unquote stabilize your board, you have failed. You have failed horribly. I mean, just straight up horribly. Other stuff that I had that did not make the cut. Tin Street Markets, I ended up with 2 of them. I think one of them was like I got stuck with or whatever. It would be a great card if it had a lower casting cost. Unfortunately, it doesn't. And that's the long and short of it. If it was like 2 mana less to play, it would be great. But it's not. In an environment where you have Boros is your predominant red, well, Boros and Gruul, really. For the Gruul, the mana cost isn't as much of a drawback, but because you've got a little bit more mana acceleration green. But in Boros, the card's almost worthless, despite the fact that it's a good effect. Scar Guildmage was a hate draft because he's ridiculous. You pump a red and a green. He's a 2/2 for a red and a green. You pump a red and a green into him to give creatures you control trample till end of turn. That's awesome. You pump a colorless red and green to him, and target land you control becomes a 4/4 elemental until end of turn. It is still a land. That's nice. Yeah, hey, look, I just turned one of my lands that's hanging around into a 4/4 dude. BAM! That's awesome. Primal Visitation, enchanted creature gets +3/+3 in haste for 3 colors, a red and a green. Alright, granting haste at that point is kind of stupid. It really is. Because you're not going to put that on anything but like a really small creature where if the haste is going to matter. You're going to generally put that on something that haste is meaningless on, because he's already been on the board a few turns. But +3/+3 is nice. Naturalize. I think it was kind of a hate draft because at that time I already had the transport. And of course, you know, the key rune, blah blah blah. Shielded Passage. I think that was a really late pick, I don't know. Hands of Binding is annoying as all hell. That was a straight up hate draft. Last Thoughts, not really so much, but whatever. The Keymaster Rogue was definitely a hate draft. I don't like dealing with unblockable stuff. Way of the Thief. Once again, you're just grabbing stuff that, like, when there's nothing really worthwhile in the pack for me, I'll grab stuff that other people might play, you know? Oh, Gruul Key Rune, yeah. Gruul Gilgate, those were, like I said, early grabs. Wildwood Rebirth, colorless in the green, instant return creature from graveyard to hand. What's really nice with that is, hey, guess what? You can get a Blood Rush creature back. So, for example, if you've got 2 red, a green, and something else available, you can just whip out the Blood Rush Goblin, put it back in your hand, and then cast it again. And all of these stuff is instants, guys. It's mean stuff. Mortis Strider, I will hate draft those if there's nothing in a pack for me. He's a 1/1 when he dies, return to owner's hand. I've seen people make really good use of that with the blue denizen, the one that mills for 2. So it's like, yeah, you swing with the Mortis Strider. Are you going to take the hit? No? Okay, you take no damage. I'm going to sit here and paper cut you to death if you let me. Oh, you're not going to take the... You're going to block him? You're going to kill him? Cool. He dies. He comes back to my hand. I recast him. I mill you for 2. Don't you feel stupid now? You're basically putting your opponent in a lose-lose situation. Heart of the Dim. He's a 3/4 for 5 mana. Optional hexproof. He's actually a pretty solid creature. I just haven't seen anyone make any real use out of him yet. That's just my observation. Illness in the ranks. Token creatures get -1/-1. It's an enchantment. It's interesting. I'm thinking it might have even been printed to like hose some of the token decks that have been running rampant in Standard since like Latent Innistrad block. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to work. Blah 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 blah. There are so many things that both for and against it. At the very least, it's a solid sideboard card. You know what I'm saying? And Shattering Blow, exile target artifact. It's not bad. It would probably be better if they were, you know, more dangerous artifacts in the environment, but there aren't. I mean, what have we got in this environment for artifacts? We've got the 2/2 Flying Gargoyle for 4. Yeah. You've got the key runes. Those are worth exiling. Especially the Boros key rune is the big one because it's got double strike. That can get stupid. What else you got? The Armored Transport. Yeah. What else? The Skyblind Staff and the Riot Gear. The staff is probably slightly better than the gear, but neither of them is really, really exceptional. That's just my evaluation. I mean, it's okay to have in sideboard if you find out something is giving you a lot. I mean, a lot of problems. But that aside, definitely not worth main decking. Prize pool. I got a Cynic Manipulator and a Wrecking Ogre out of the prize pool. My keeper was my my Reckoner. What you're not seeing, something that I drafted is that I kicked into the prize pool, didn't get back, didn't really want back, was a Merciless Eviction. Though to be perfectly honest, the Merciless Eviction back probably would have been better. I can speak English, I really can. Probably would have been better than either of these. But maybe that's me, I don't know. I don't know. So, there's that, and yeah, good job. Way to go, me. Make a mess. It's alright. So, let's see about getting this sucker up, and blah blah blah. Yakety and schmackety. Catch you later, guys. Be good, stay safe, happy drafting, blah blah blah.